I had no idea this evening would change everything between my stepfather and me. Before I tell you, you won't believe how it ended. My name is Alice, I'm 24. My stepfather and I had always maintained a respectful distance. He married my mom when I was already 18. Though he was 10 years younger than her. He'd always been reserved, almost a bit cold. But that evening Mom went to a friend's and we were home alone. A light rain outside, a warm glow in the living room, and a strange silence made it feel like something was about to happen. I was on the couch with a mug of tea when he came out of the shower, towel drying his hair. He looked at me and his gaze was new. A little longer than usual, a little warmer. He sat down beside me, his knee brushing against mine. I pretended not to notice, but my heart fluttered with a strange excitement. He silently took my mug, took a sip and gave it back, his fingers lingering on mine just a beat too long. I met his gaze, it was direct, warm but held a hint of a challenge. Suddenly, he smirked a little, as if he knew I wouldn't look away. The silence around us became almost tangible, and my heart beat faster. He slowly leaned back into the couch, his eyes fixed on mine, and I knew this moment couldn't be broken so easily. He leaned in a bit closer. His voice was soft, but every word felt like it was touching my skin. He said I was too beautiful to be sitting so far away from him right now. His hand lightly slid along the back of the couch and rested behind my waist. Pulling me closer, I felt his breath by my ear, and a shiver ran down my spine. He was barely touching me, but the tension between us became so thick the air felt heavy. I exhaled softly, and in that moment, he slowly turned my face toward his. Our eyes met so closely that I couldn't think of anything else. His lips barely brushed mine unhurriedly, as if he was testing if I'd allow more. His palm confidently settled on my thigh, his fingers squeezing it a little harder. I couldn't help but lean into him, feeling his breathing grow heavier. He whispered that he'd waited for this moment for too long, and wasn't going to back down now. My fingers found their way to his shoulders on their own, and my heart was beating so loudly I thought he could hear it too. I felt his hand slide higher, making me hold my breath. He tilted his head slightly, and his lips trailed down my neck, leaving a hot path. Every movement was slow but assured. I wrapped my arms around his neck, feeling him pull me closer. His whisper was hoarse and low, promising that tonight I'd forget about everything but him. His fingers gripped my waist tighter, and he turned me to face him. Our eyes met, and I saw that same mix of desire and authority in his gaze that sent a shiver down my spine. He slowly ran his palm down my back, pulling me so close there wasn't an inch of space left between us. His breath brushed my ear, and his voice became a near whisper, commanding me not to look away while he took what was his. I obediently stayed in his embrace, feeling him slowly guide me back until my legs touched the edge of the couch. He gently but insistently sat me down, remaining standing over me. His hand slid along my thighs, moving higher, and his eyes burned through me, as if he already knew my every move. He leaned in so close I could feel the warmth of his lips just a millimeter from mine, and the anticipation was driving me insane. He held his breath, teasing me with the proximity. His hands confidently cupped my thighs. As he pulled me toward him, I felt him slowly slide his lips along my cheek to my ear. A hot whisper touched my skin, making a shiver run down my spine. He whispered a couple of words that took my breath away, and at that very moment, his hands began to move even more boldly, as if removing the last boundaries between us. I felt his fingers squeeze my waist harder. He turned me to face him. Our eyes met. His eyes held that same desire that made everything inside me melt. He slowly ran his hand down my back, pulling me closer so our bodies touched, and his lips covered mine, first softly, then deeper, more demandingly, leaving me breathless and unable to resist. His hand slid higher, as if exploring every line of my body. My breathing grew heavier, and my heart was beating so loudly I thought he could hear it too. He whispered something in a low, hoarse voice right in my ear. And at those words a shiver ran down my spine. I closed my eyes, feeling his warmth and strength completely consume me, taking away any thought of pulling away. His hands became bolder, pulling me closer, as if he was no longer going to hold back. His hot breath burned my neck, and his lips barely touched my skin, making me hold my breath. He whispered my name in a way that held both power and desire. And in that moment I knew I couldn't resist his touch, or the magnetic pull between us. His hands slid down my waist, pulling me close. I could feel my heart beating faster, and his voice became low and hoarse. He spoke softly, but every word felt like it was penetrating me, igniting me even more. His lips found mine, first slowly as if teasing, then more insistently. I was already drowning in that kiss, forgetting where I was and what was supposed to be right. His hands confidently slid down, squeezing me so tightly my breath hitched. He whispered a couple of hot words right into my ear that sent a shiver through my skin. I leaned into him, feeling the tension between us build. He pulled back slightly, looking directly into my eyes, as if testing if I was ready. Without waiting for an answer, he pulled me back in, leaving me no room to think. He pressed me against him even harder. His breath became hotter and heavier. His lips slid down my neck, lingering at my collarbone, making me gasp involuntarily. His hands confidently explored every inch, as if he had known for a long time what I wanted, and was deliberately teasing, not giving me what every one of his movements was leading to. His hands moved lower, cupping my thighs and pulling them closer, so there was not the slightest distance left between us. He leaned into my ear and whispered words in a hoarse voice that took my breath away. And then he slowly trailed his lips downward, leaving a warm path. Every one of his gestures was slow, deliberately drawn out, as if he wanted me to remember this moment down to the smallest detail. He leaned in so close I could feel his breath on my skin. His gaze slowly glided over my face, lingering on my lips, making my heart beat faster. His fingers touched my wrist as if checking if I would back away, but I just held his gaze more firmly. There was silence in the room, where I could only hear our breaths intertwining. He quietly whispered something that made me smile faintly and nod. His hand slid higher, and my body responded with a slight shudder. We both knew there was no going back, and this moment would be long, hot, and dangerous. He slowly ran his palm down my back, as if studying every line, every curve. And the lower his hand slid, the more I felt my breathing become ragged. He tilted his head slightly, his lips barely touching my ear, and a quiet, hoarse whisper made me close my eyes tight. His touches became more confident. His fingers squeezed my waist, pulling me closer, and I felt his warmth envelop me with every second. His gaze was sharp, burning, and his movements were slow, deliberate, as if he was savoring every reaction from my body. His hands slid along my thighs, making me press even harder against him. He smiled a little, noticing how I was trembling, and leaned in so close that his breath mingled with mine. His hot lips touched my neck, leaving barely noticeable but scorching marks. His fingers confidently traced the line of my waist, then rose higher, lingering as if teasing. His whisper became lower, deeper. Every word felt like it was getting under my skin, and I could no longer pull away or resist this building slow madness. He turned me toward him, holding me so tightly that I could feel his strength in every movement. His palm slid down my back, and his lips covered mine in a greedy, deep kiss that held all the desire, authority, and pull that made my head spin. He pulled back slightly, running the tip of his nose along my cheek, and whispered hoarsely that I wouldn't be leaving him tonight. His hands found my waist again, pulling me closer, and his gaze promised that things would only get hotter. He turned me to face him. Our eyes met, and in that moment the entire world seemed to disappear. His hands cupped my waist, pulling me so close there wasn't an inch of space left between us. His hot breath brushed my lips. He paused, as if deliberately drawing out the moment, and then hungrily consumed me in a kiss that held all the desire, authority, and that feeling that takes your breath away. I felt him guide me back to the edge of a table without letting go, as if he was afraid to release me even for a second. I sank onto the edge of the table. His hands confidently slid along my thighs, parting them. He leaned in closer, whispered something in a low, hoarse voice right in my ear, which sent a shiver down my spine. His fingers held me firmly, not letting me move, and his gaze burned through me as if he already knew what would happen next and was simply teasing, savoring every second of my anticipation. His hands rose higher, squeezing me tighter and tighter. His breath became hot and close. He ran his lips along my neck, lingering at the most sensitive spot, and then slowly slid lower. His fingers confidently and greedily explored me, and I, holding on to his shoulders, felt everything inside me burn and demand that he finally stop playing and take me completely. I pressed myself even closer to him, feeling his hot breath scorch my ear. He whispered short, sharp phrases that made my knees weak. His hands slid down my back, pulling me toward him so there was not a single bit of distance left between us. And in that moment, I knew I could no longer hold back and completely gave myself to him. He lifted me, sat me on the edge of the table, and looking me directly in the eyes, quietly said that now I was his. His hands wrapped around my waist, pressing me closer. Our breathing became one, and in the next second, he leaned in resolutely, making me arch into him, feeling everything inside me tremble with anticipation. His fingers slid along my back, squeezing and pulling me closer. He whispered hot words in my ear that made goosebumps run across my skin. I felt his breathing become deeper and heavier, and his gaze more greedy. He slowly ran his lips along my neck, leaving a fiery trail. And in that moment, everything around us ceased to exist. All that was left was us and this building madness. He turned me toward him. His hands confidently wrapped around my waist, pulling me so close that I could feel his every breath. His lips found mine greedily, demandingly, as if he was afraid to let go even for a second. His hands slid lower, and my entire body responded, as if it knew his movements in advance. I could only hear the beat of my own heart and his quiet but deep breathing, which was getting faster. He pulled me so close that not a drop of air was left between us. His voice was quiet but confident. "You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this." His fingers slid along my neck, forcing me to close my eyes. I felt his breath by my ear and a barely audible, "Tell me you're mine." My heart beat faster, and my hands reached for him on their own, as if they were afraid to let go. Every one of his gestures, every touch was like a challenge, like a game from which it was now impossible to escape. His hands confidently slid down my back, pulling me even closer. His hot breath burned my skin, and with a hoarse smirk he whispered, "You don't even know what I'm going to do to you." I felt his fingers grip my thighs tighter, and his lips covered mine so greedily, as if he was afraid I would disappear. Every one of his movements was slow but so insistent, that everything inside me was burning with anticipation, and I already knew he wasn't going to stop. He lifted me, sat me on the edge of the table. His hands confidently parted my knees. He looked directly into my eyes, and there was so much heat in that gaze that it took my breath away. His voice became low and hoarse. "You're mine until my last breath." He slowly ran his palm along the inside of my thigh, making me arch into him, and every one of his careful but confident gestures drove me crazier. He leaned in closer. His lips slid along my neck, leaving warm, scorching kisses that took my breath away. His fingers squeezed my thighs harder, pulling me toward him so tightly that I felt him completely control my every movement. His hot whisper right by my ear sent a shiver through me. "Tell me you want this as much as I do." His hands slid down my back, slowly moving lower, and my breathing became so heavy that it seemed we were both about to lose control. He looked me in the eyes, and in that gaze was everything: desire, challenge, and the complete madness of the moment. I felt his grip tighten, and he quietly, almost hoarsely, said, "Now you're not getting away." He pulled me so close that there was not a drop of space left between us. His lips greedily found mine, and his hands confidently slid under my clothes, igniting a fire in me that made my head spin. Every one of his movements was slow but dominant, and I, trembling, could no longer resist, only whispered hot words in his ear that I would never have dared to say myself. His breathing became heavier, His fingers squeezed my waist tighter. He leaned into my ear, whispering something that gave me goosebumps. Without letting me regain my composure, he pressed me tightly against him, making me feel his every movement. I softly breathed out his name, and he, as if in response, ran his palm down my back, sliding lower, tearing me between desire and the last remnants of my sanity. I buried my face in his shoulder, feeling my heart beat in unison with his. He slowly ran his hand through my hair, leaving light kisses on my neck, and quietly, almost in a whisper, said that he would never let me go again, and I just hugged him tighter, knowing that this moment would stay with me forever.